Many of our former inductees are in the audience tonight. This is one of the great traditions of the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame induction banquet is seemingly everybody comes back, and we love to see them. If you are a past Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame inductee, will you all please stand for a round of applause? Thank you so much for coming home. I'd also like to recognize the folks who are responsible for guiding our statewide organization year in and year out. Members of the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame Board of Directors, please stand and let's all thank them, the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame officers and Board of Directors. We appreciate your dedication and your diligence. And to everyone in attendance tonight here at the Omni, thank you for being part of the 2024 Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame induction ceremony. At this time, I want to introduce the chairman of the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame, a man who is also a member of the Hall of Fame himself. After an outstanding career as a player at the University of Tennessee, this Franklin County native dove into the coaching ranks and over the next 20-plus years became regarded as one of the best assistant coaches in the nation. He became the University of Tennessee's head coach after the 1992 season and stayed in that role for 16 seasons, winning 152 games and the 1998 national championship. Please welcome Coach Philip Fulmer. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you and welcome. It's great to be together and see everyone again as we induct this wonderful class of 2024. I hope you enjoy this evening, and I'd like to thank all of our sponsors for tonight's event. The Tennessee Titans, the Tennessee Lottery, the University of Tennessee Athletics, Lippman Brothers, Alexander Thompson Arnold, Pass Pro Shops, Big Machines Records Music Grand Prix, Music City Grand Prix, Delta Dental of Tennessee, the Memphis Grizzlies, the Tennessee Highway Safety Office, Pinnacle Financial Partners, the Nashville Predators, Vanderbilt Athletics, Tennessee State Parks, Austin Peay Athletics, Adams and Reese, Bristol Motor Speedway, Middle Tennessee State University Athletics, Nashville Super Speedway, Franklin Bank and Trust, Nobody, I like this one. Nobody Trashes Tennessee, Curb Records, Memphis Athletics, Jack Daniels, the TSSAA, River Gorge Ranch, Sixth and Peabody, and the Tennessee Department of Tourism. Let's give every one of those sponsors a great big hand. I want to thank the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame Board of Directors, and in particular our event chair, Marianne Donovan. Thank you so much for your diligence in putting all this together. Give Marianne and her group a big hand. Tonight we induct our 59th class, recognize a wonderful group of inductees, and honor some outstanding teams, amateur athletes, professional athletes, and our Tennessean of the Year. Their stories are all different, but athletics are the tie that binds them. Tonight, we celebrate our shared athletic history and what it means to be to so many in our great state. Please enjoy the evening, and thank you for your support of our Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. As we continue with our program, our next speaker is Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame Executive Director Brad Willis. Brad is a native of Lewisburg who built a successful radio career by constructing one of the country's top-rated sports talk stations, 104.5 The Zone in Nashville. Only the opportunity to work on behalf of two of his favorite things, sports and his home state of Tennessee, sent him to the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame. In the last 4 years, Brad has generated powerful momentum for the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame. The strides so far have been amazing, but clearly the best is yet to come. Please welcome Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame Executive Director Brad Willis.
Well, good evening and welcome to the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame induction banquet. Tonight, we gather to celebrate the outstanding achievements and contributions of individuals and organizations that have used sports to make our great state of Tennessee even better. It's an honor to stand before you all and share this wonderful evening together. First and foremost, I would like to extend our deepest gratitude to the Tennessee Titans. Your support and dedication to the community have been truly remarkable, and the impact you've made both on and off the field is inspiring. We're incredibly fortunate to have such a committed organization as part of our state. I would also like to thank the Tennessee Lottery for their generous contributions to the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame. Your support has not only made tonight possible, but it's also played a significant role in funding educational programs and scholarships across Tennessee. Your commitment to giving back is truly commendable. Events like tonight don't happen without a lot of people pulling together to help. And our organization has a long-standing relationship with the Tennessee Department of Tourist Development, and nearly every one of their employees have had a hand in putting together tonight's event. I'm very grateful for all of their hard work and wish to say thanks. Absolutely. Our board of directors is a diverse group of individuals from across the state that believe in the transformative power of sports. And they are so essential to the success of our organization, and I'm thankful that nearly all of them are here with us tonight. I'd also like to thank Spencer Fritz, Amanda Dillingham, and their production company, Behind the Curtain Media. The wonderful videos that you'll see tonight were shot and produced by Spencer and his team. We know you'll enjoy learning about this great group of inductees and honorees. As many of you know, there's exciting news on the horizon for the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame. When the new Nissan Stadium opens in 2027, the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame, sponsored by the Tennessee Lottery, will make its home there. This state-of-the-art facility will not only provide a fantastic venue for sports events, but will also serve as a hub for community gatherings and entertainment. We're thrilled about the opportunities it will bring and the positive impact it will have on our state, and we're looking forward to calling it home. So with that exciting development on the horizon, you may wonder how you can help. And well, I would say it's simple. If you enjoy tonight's event, please help us spread the word. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your colleagues about the incredible experiences and the inspiring stories that you heard about tonight. You can also bid on a great collection of items in our silent auction, or you can make a donation to the Hall's mission. We would love to have for you to join us at our next fundraiser event on September 26th as we host our annual golf tournament presented by the Tennessee Lottery. You can sign up for that tournament at our website, which is tshf.net. So, your enthusiasm and your support continue to celebrate and uplift the achievements of those who make a difference through sports. Because the purpose of tonight's banquet is to honor and celebrate individuals and organizations that have leveraged sports to improve their communities. From athletes and coaches to volunteers and supporters, each of you has played a pivotal role in using sports as a vehicle for positive change. We're here to recognize your hard work, your dedication, and your passion. Before I conclude, I'd like to take a brief moment to spotlight Coach Philip Fulmer. Coach, if you would join me at the podium. Coach Fulmer, your leadership and your dedication have been invaluable. We're deeply grateful for your service as chairman. And on this final night of your tenure as chairman, we want to extend our heartfelt thanks for your guidance, your wisdom, and your unwavering commitment to our mission. Everyone, please join me in saluting our chairman for a job well done. Thank you for I appreciate you. Thank you all for being here tonight and for your continued support of the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame. Let's enjoy the evening, celebrate our inductees and honorees, and look forward to a bright future together. Thank you all.
We'd like to remind you that if you have bid on any of our silent auction items, please check at the end of the evening to claim your item. We appreciate your support. Several great items to pick from to benefit the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame's mission. Bidding closes at 8:15, so approximately 35 minutes from now. Now, we begin with our honoree awards. Our Female Amateur Athlete of the Year is presented by the TNSHOF. And our winner is national champion Fisk University gymnast Morgan Price. Price etched her name into the annals of gymnastics history at the 2024 USAG Women's Collegiate Gymnastics Nationals held in Westchester, Pennsylvania. Price's scores of 9.850 on the floor exercise, 9.850 on the vault, 9.8 on the bars, and 9.750 on the balance beam gave her a score of 39.225 in the all-around, making her the national champion. Her performance establishes her as the first gymnast from a historically black college and university to do so. Please welcome Morgan Price. Our Male Amateur Athlete of the Year is also presented by the TNSHOF. This year's award vote was a tie, and the honor is being given to two worthy athletes. First, Dalton Connect. Dalton Connect was an NCAA unanimous first-team All-American, SEC Player of the Year, and finalist for the Wooden Award, Naismith Trophy Player of the Year, and Lute Olson National Player of the Year. He led the Vols to the Elite Eight and broke the program record for points in an NCAA tournament game with 37. Connect averaged 21.7 points per game and 4.9 rebounds per game. Last month, he was selected 17th overall in the NBA draft by the Los Angeles Lakers. Accepting for Dalton Connect is University of Tennessee Senior Associate Athletic Director Tyler Johnson. Our other recipient of this award is Vanderbilt golfer Gordon Sargent. Sargent was named one of three finalists for the Ben Hogan Award, annually awarded to college's top player in both 2023 and 2024. He was the Golf Week National Player of the Year in 2023, and last fall, Gordon won the Mark H. McCormick Medal, awarded annually by the USGA and R&A to the world's top amateur golfer. He is a three-time first-team All-America selection and holds the record for all-time wins for a Vanderbilt golfer with 6. He was a member of Team USA, on the winning Walker Cup team and winning Eisenhower Trophy team in 2023. In 2023, he played in the Masters tournament and was low amateur at the U.S. Open. Gordon earned his PGA Tour card via the PGA Tour University Accelerated program last fall and will join the PGA Tour following his graduation and the NCAA Championships next May. Here to accept the award for Gordon Sargent is the head golf coach at Vanderbilt University, Scott Limbaugh. Let's meet our teams of the year, beginning with our amateur female team of the year. We honor the Tennessee Lady Vols softball team. In 2023, Tennessee won its first SEC regular season championship since 2007 and its first SEC tournament title since 2011, winning both crowns in the same season for the first time in the program's history. The Lady Vols secured a 50-win season and reached the national semifinals at the College World Series. In 2024, the Lady Vols followed their efforts with a 40-9 regular season and repeated as SEC regular season champions. The 2024 Lady Vols advanced to their 13th Super Regionals, and 3 Lady Vols were selected as All-Americans. Coach Karen Weekly could not be here with us tonight, but she did send us this message on behalf of her team.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Karen Weekly, the head coach of the Lady Vols softball team. I am very honored to accept this award for the Female Amateur Team of the Year. I'm very proud of what our young women have accomplished on the field these last 2 years, winning SEC championships for consecutive seasons. But I'm even more proud of the women they are off the field. They value academics and they value leadership in their community as much or more than they do being great on the softball field. I hope you have a wonderful evening, and again, thank you.
Our amateur male team of the year goes to the Freed-Hardeman Lions basketball team. The Freed-Hardeman Lions, coached by Drew Stutz, finished the 23-24 season with a 32-4 record and capped off their season by winning the NAIA National Championship, the first ever for Freed-Hardeman. Despite trailing by 6 points with 1 minute remaining in the championship game, the Lions forced several turnovers and scored the game's last 6 points to win 71-67 over Langston. Freed-Hardeman Assistant Athletic Director Todd Humphrey is here to accept the award on Freed-Hardeman's basketball team's behalf. Our professional team of the year is the Nashville Predators. The Predators clinched their 16th postseason appearance after being written off following a tough start to the season. The Predators finished the regular season with a record of 47-30-5, earning the 6th playoff spot in the Western Conference. The Preds shook off a 5-10 start by grabbing points in 20 of 33 games between Thanksgiving and the All-Star break. They put together the longest point streak in franchise history, 18, following the break, and had an 8-game win streak, the second longest in franchise history. Here to accept the award on behalf of the Nashville Predators tonight is the longtime voice of the Predators, Pete Weber. Our Professional Athlete of the Year award is presented by UT Athletics. That's Tennessee, by the way. And the award goes to Joseph Newgarden. In 2023, Hendersonville native Joseph Newgarden swept the Iowa Speedway weekend and nearly became the first driver ever to win every oval race on the schedule, with wins at Texas and Indianapolis. After thrilling last lap passes, Newgarden won the 2023 Indianapolis 500 in his 12th attempt at the greatest spectacle in racing. He went on to finish 5th in the standings, his 8th consecutive season, finishing in the top 5 in the championship standings. In 2024, Newgarden again captured the checkered flag at the Indianapolis 500, becoming the 6th driver to win the race in consecutive years and the first driver to win the race in consecutive years since 2002. Here tonight, accepting on Joseph's behalf, is his father, Joey Newgarden. Joseph sends his regards. He's in Canada racing this weekend. We understand and we accept. The Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame would like to take a moment to recognize the Tennessee baseball team for winning the school's first national championship last month. '24 saw the Vols enjoy a 60-win season, an SEC regular season championship, an SEC tournament championship, and of course, the College World Series title. Joining us tonight, Tennessee baseball coach Tony Vitello, and we'd like to invite him to the stage to accept a recognition of his team's national championship. Coach Vitello. Have a seat.
Thank you much.
Let's make sure we're good. Oh, this is great. What have the last 3 weeks been like for you?
They've been hectic, obviously. I've been telling people that I do not have free Morgan Wallen tickets. I've run into you at the airport, and we were both on the same flight. It was after recruiting. We had to jump right into that. So I was nervous about you sitting in the same area as me because I was going to be asleep, drooling, and all that stuff. We had the parade, which was unbelievable. That was an immediate deal. As soon as we got back to campus from Omaha, to be honest with you, everybody was exhausted. The night before, we had reason to stay up a little late. We kind of took over the second floor of that hotel with family, friends, players, donors, coaches. It was just a great sense of relief, pride, mental peace. It was awesome. The camaraderie there made it a really special night after the special win. But we were exhausted. And then when we got to that parade, it was like mental Red Bull. Immediately, everybody perked up. And it was one of the most incredible sights I've ever seen. And very thankful that we were able to take part in that and that it went so well. And the way that it goes well is Vol Nation. Probably about as crazy, yes, about as crazy of a group as you're ever going to find.
What does winning the national championship mean to your program?
It means Vol Nation can talk smack to all the other SEC fans for a year, for not even a year, really. But I think it means a lot for the baseball program because we've had to lean on some of the guys that are here, including Chris Burke and Coach Delmonico, and Tyler Johnson's our sport administrator. He's been around a long time. We've had to lean on a lot of people for the blueprint of what made Tennessee baseball successful before, because there have been Omaha trips and there have been, trophies awarded. And again, those people should take as much pride as our current players that helped us win in that trophy. And to me, it means a lot for the state of Tennessee more than anything. that they can hang their hat on us having a national championship. And one of the coolest things, one of the coolest things is going to Hunter Ensley's hometown, went to a few of those other banquets and listening to people's stories about how the championship and how UT athletics affects their daily life was mind-blowing. And it was really special to me to hear some of those stories.
So the next 16, 17 hours special for the program, too. In just a few minutes, we're going to induct Chris Burke into the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame. Tomorrow afternoon, Cooperstown, New York, Todd Helton becomes only the second SEC player to be inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame, obviously the first from Tennessee. What is Chris being inducted tonight, being recognized, being one of the lead voices of college baseball, and Todd Helton being in Cooperstown? What do those things mean to your program?
It helps solidify that it's a national program that is of just as much importance as any of the others that we're competing against. And in order to do great things, you have to have a ton of people. You see a great movie, there's the people on the camera crew and the lights, they did a good job too. And so it's unfortunate you can't recognize everybody, but you can recognize the ones that truly were outstanding with their efforts. And Chris has been like that his entire life and has carried on. And just contribution is the word that stands out as it relates to Chris, clearly on the field, but also just as a person and what he means to our guys when he's around and kind of mentors them, whether he knows it or not. And then his voice. He's just dang good at what he does for ESPN. And he's a little bit biased, not as biased as the Vol fans want him to be, but does a tremendous job with that. And then Todd is, I've known him well enough, being a sports fan and a baseball fan, he is a winner. And he has won at everything he does. He's done it as an individual, but if you take a deeper look, any team that he's been a part of is a winning team. And that's because of his competitive spirit and also the fact he's a teammate, and also he's pretty talented too. So he'll be recognized for that tomorrow, and it'll make for a heck of a weekend for Vol Nation.
Thank you so much for taking the time for the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame. We're so glad that you were able to be here. Just enjoy the rest of your night.
I'll try. Yeah, I'll try to. Thank you all so much, and congrats to all the inductees.
Thank you. Thank you for the time. Ready to share an incredible story with you now. It's remarkable. Our David Williams Significant Historical Achievement Award is presented by Alexander Thompson Arnold, PLLC. And this year, we recognize the late Thomas Wilson. Thomas Wilson was a prominent businessman, baseball pioneer, and National League leader. Wilson moved to Nashville with his parents when they attended Meharry Medical College.
Tom Wilson created the Negro League team, the Nashville Elite Giants, in 1920, and he later became the second owner of a Negro League team to build and own his ballpark, Tom Wilson Field in South Nashville.
He really built a mecca for baseball here.
Wilson went on to become one of the founding members of the Negro Southern League in 1920.
Tom Wilson was known for developing rookie players into stars.
And developed the Nashville Elite Giants into Negro League baseball history by evolving the team into the better-known Negro League team, the Baltimore Elite Giants.
Wilson had an expression that they needed to win and keep fighting until they won. And that was the hustle and determination that everybody who played for Tom Wilson had on the field.
My father became an entrepreneur because he saw an entrepreneur in Tom Wilson. And you didn't see that in the 1920s. A successful African American who was a strong and financially rich entrepreneur here in Nashville.
But his work and legacy left an indelible mark on the game of baseball that extended far beyond the state of Tennessee.
And that is what a visionary does. And because of that, he carved out a piece of history for himself.
We are pleased to posthumously honor Mr. Wilson with our David Williams Significant Historical Achievement Award, presented by Alexander Thompson Arnold, PLLC. Accepting on behalf of Thomas Wilson is Dr. Harriet Kimbrough Hamilton, along with Wilson's granddaughter-in-law, Frances Larry. I'm going to ask them to come up here and visit with me after they take a picture with Coach Fulmer. Come on over. There's you a microphone. There's you one.
I'm going to give it to her.
You know, doctor. Oh, she's got one. Okay, we're good, Coach. Thank you. Your dad played for Tom Wilson.
Yes, he did.
As we have read about Tom Wilson and the incredible story about all that he did, the note that I wrote down is he was really a numbers guy for the Negro Southern League and the Negro National League. He made the business part of baseball work. So do you think it's fair to say that his business savvy is what made it work?
Well, his business savvy made the golden era of Negro League Baseball, which was in the 30s, coming on in the 30s and 40s. And of course, when Robinson broke into Major League Baseball, things started going downhill. But Wilson was the mastermind behind the East-West All-Star game that they had in Chicago, when they had close to 80,000 people that came.
80,000.
Close to 80,000, yes. So the Negro League was $1 million industry during the time that Tom Wilson was the president.
The overall historical knowledge about Negro League Baseball has expanded by leaps and bounds over just the last couple years. Less than 2 months ago, Major League Baseball has officially added player statistics from the Negro Leagues to its historical record. So with developments like that, do you think it's only a matter of time before major Negro League contributors like Thomas Wilson, better known as Smiling Tom?
Yes.
It was his nickname. Do you think he starts to really get his due going forward?
Absolutely, because now people are looking at what they accomplished instead of the color of their skin. And that's a different avenue that you go down. You look at people and judge people for what they've done, not who you think they are. And that's important.
Thank you both for helping us share this story. We appreciate you being here today.
Thank you.
Oh,
I'd just like to thank Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame for allowing us to receive this award tonight. Also like to thank Dr. Hampton for working so hard and her staff to get this accomplished. So thank you so much.
you're very welcome. And thank you for making us so aware the way that you did and really helping to bring this out to so many people tonight. Thank you so much. Yes, you may.
I'm not
That's
trying
okay.
to hog it.
That's
I'm
okay.
not trying to do your job. But I just want to recognize two of my people that worked hard with me. You know, you don't do this by yourself. I have two people that are part of my baseball village, and they're at my table. Skip Nipper, who most of you probably have heard of. He's a baseball historian. Skip, can you stand? And Doug Scopel, who is the Vice President of Operation for the Nashville Sounds. I just want to publicly thank them.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you coming.
I'm also a PFL host.
The Pat Summit Lifetime Achievement Award is presented by Curb Records. We'd like to recognize this year's winner, longtime Executive Director of Special Olympics Tennessee, Mr. Jack Elder.
A native of Texas, Jack Elder moved to Tennessee in 1972 to earn a graduate degree in physical education and recreation for the handicapped at George Peabody College. Upon work on his degree, Elder learned of a program called Special Olympics.
I know that Jack's mission in Special Olympics was a true calling on his behalf.
Kind of being a part of Tennessee Special Olympics so early on, right, building a team around him that helped them to achieve the goals and build it to the size and the scope that it was for the state of Tennessee was just awesome to see.
During the period of Jack Elder's leadership, Tennessee Special Olympics grew to include approximately 8,000 volunteers and approximately 13,000 athletes competing in local, area, and state events in 15 sports.
It was great to grow up around, right? To have a dad that was involved in that. Sports were a huge part of just who we were. His passion and his love for it just translated to so many different things.
Jack Elder started Special Olympics in Tennessee. Now thousands of people play sports just like others.
So I know that the community saw Jack's vision of the program and supported him in each way.
The Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame congratulates Jack Elder and recognizes him with our Pat Summit Lifetime Achievement Award, presented by Curb Records.
Jack, come over here and take a seat if you would. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Let you have that.
When you're 80 years old, you're glad to be anywhere. But,
I understand.
But for have the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame honor me with the Pat Summit Lifetime Achievement Award is surreal. I mean, it's just hard to believe, but thank you.
What initially drew you to Special Olympics?
Well, I came to George Peabody College on a full tuition waiver. It was a federally funded program, a full tuition waiver, a monthly stipend that allowed me to live on, called Physical Education and Recreation for the Handicapped. And I wasn't familiar with Special. It was still a brand new program. Very few people knew about it. But I learned about it, and it had a volunteer director, N.C. Hibbett, who was a full-time employee at Clover Bottom, but he was trying to do something with Special Olympics. But when I met him, it just touched my heart. And, you had a whole population out there. There's probably brothers and sisters played sports. Their parents probably played sports, but they were not having the opportunity to do it. And I just said, we got to fix this, along with Mrs. Eunice Kennedy Shriver, who founded the program. And so NC just explained to me that he couldn't keep doing it as a part-time person because you can't establish a statewide year-round program part-time. And he said, we have to have a full-time director. And that was in 1972, and in 1973 I became the full-time director of Tennessee Special Olympics.
What's the most important thing you learned from Special Olympics?
Well, that the athletes could overachieve. I mean, we never anticipated that they would do all they could, but once they had the opportunity, they took it by the reins, and their determination, their skill, their joy, their courage, and their sharing, just all of that just came forward. And it was just a remarkable story. And I consider it to be the most remarkable and inspiring story in Tennessee sports history. People might not share that with me, but that's the way I feel.
It's a fair opinion. In case our audience doesn't know, there's so many exciting things going on with Special Olympics Tennessee right now, moving towards the future. Where do you think, as we just talk about the now, however, where do you think Special Olympics has made the biggest contribution in the state of Tennessee to this point and will in the future?
Well, I happen to have the current CEO and president Adam Gurnick, and I also have the Vice President of Special Olympics Tennessee. And all I can tell you is I don't know if they're still feeling what we did back in the 70s and 80s, but we sure set a strong foundation for them. And and they're doing a good job. And I'd like to mention, I also have 3 people that were with me to help grow and develop this program back in the 70s. Ron Bollinger was my sports director. Tony Crowder was on the board of directors, and Kathy Rader was our area director. And all of them deserve a lot of credit, too, for that growth and development and the success we had.
Jack Elder, congratulations on the Pat Summitt Lifetime Achievement Award. Thank you. Okay, I'm just going to tell you this next thing is going to be fun. The newest award given by the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame is the Legacy Award, which seeks to honor a program's sustained success over a period of time. This year, our inaugural award goes to White Station High School. Before I tell you the story, we'd like to go ahead and ask all of the White Station players and coaches to come down. All right, listen to this. From 2000 through 2004, White Station captured 4 AAA state championships, and they went 176-12. That's 93% win percentage. The Spartans, led by Hall of Fame coach Terry Tippett, employed a platoon system requiring a 15-man rotation. 3 of the teams were ranked inside the top 10 nationally during this dominant period. The 2002 championship team's leading scorer averaged only 9.4 points per game. These teams were filled with selfless stars who played less, scored less, but certainly won more. Right here in front of me, one of the greatest teams, regardless of sport, in Tennessee history, our Legacy Award winner. This is White Station basketball. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, do it. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Feel like I was part of the team now. We'd like to remind you, if you bid on any of our silent auction items, please check at the end of the evening to claim your item. We appreciate your support, and there are several great items to pick from. Checking the old watch, which I don't know how to operate. Bidding closes at 8:15, so make your final bid before time runs out. We'd also like to encourage you to take home your centerpieces from the table tonight after the event. If you'd like to make a donation for the centerpiece, you can do that by following the link on your smartphone or by scanning the code on the screen. We now begin the induction ceremony for the class of 2024 for the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame. Our first inductee is Pekka Rinne.
When you talk about historic players of the Nashville Predators, you cannot have a conversation without bringing up the best goalie to ever grace the Predators' net, Pekka Rinne.
There's a lot more than just one of the best goaltenders in the league. He was probably the best person in the league, if not maybe one of the best people I've ever met in my life. And every time you're around him, what he did on the ice always shocked you and surprised you. Some big save from the butt of his stick to diving across the crease, to obviously the goalie goal. I mean, those things made us all stand up and wow.
The Finland native was drafted by the Predators in the 2004 NHL draft, and the rest was history. Pekka played his entire 13 seasons with the Nashville Predators, but one season stands out the most, the Stanley Cup run.
We just sort of looked at each other and we said, this is the guy. What was the difference maker for us is his compete level. He did not want to get scored on. He just carried the team, series after series after series. And if you remember, our top 2 or 3 centers went out, injuries up and down, but Pekka was the guy that kept us into every single game.
But Pekka was not just known for his exceptional goalie play. In 2021, he won the King Clancy Memorial Trophy, given annually to the player who best exemplifies leadership qualities on and off the ice.
He's an elite goaltender with an elite ability to be humble and compassionate about his sport. He's changed lives and generations of lives, and just giving a little bit of himself, very generous, financially, but it was more than that. It was always that smile. He always understood what was needed, and he was always there. He always showed up, just like he always did in the biggest moments for the team. He's a special player, special man, and I'm just so honored that he's going into the Hall of Fame as a Predator.
We're honored to welcome Pekka Rinne to the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame, class of 2024. Pekka and his family live in Finland, so he was not able to join us tonight. But accepting on his behalf and joining us here will be the longtime voice of the Nashville Predators. Please welcome Pete Weber.
Thank you, Father Mike. Pete Weber, what made Pekka Rinne such a special goaltender? What made him exceptional?
It didn't hurt. 6'5", with tremendous body control, and could cover the net as he did. But the big thing that made him, I think, was his combativeness. He was ready to compete at all times. And Mike, this is a guy that the first shot he faced in the NHL, he came on in relief, was a shorthanded chance, and it beat him. But he hung in there and ended up winning the hockey game that night. And that, I think, pretty much distills what he did, what he was as a goaltender.
Why did Predators fans connect with Pekka Rinne in such a special way?
And that was probably shown best in his last game against Carolina, a shutout, and he paraded around the rink waving to the fans that night. It was reciprocal love. That's basically what it was. Pekka Rinne, and again, I'm very proud to be here on his behalf. Pekka Rinne was the guy that, we had a difficult time at first because he didn't have an ego, it didn't seem. He thought that he should stop every shot, no matter how impossible it might have been, but he did that job and loved doing it. And we also have to give credit to him, another guy who's going into the Hockey Hall of Fame this November. He and Shea Weber did so much together, establishing the 365 Fund for Monroe Carroll Jr. Children's Hospital, doing a great job with that. But Pekka Rinne, yes, he deserves a round of applause for that. And I will send a recording of this applause to Finland so he has a chance to really see what you folks felt about him.
The good news is we have a recording from Finland. Yes. Let's hear from Pekka Rinne, a 2024 Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer.
Hello everyone, it's Pekka here. Greetings from Finland. Unfortunately, I couldn't be there tonight. It is an absolute honor to be named to Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame. In a moment like this, all I can think of is all the fantastic people I got to work with and build lifelong relationships with. And especially my family. They sacrificed a lot so that I could pursue my dreams. I consider myself the luckiest man alive. Thank you again for this incredible honor. Have a fantastic night.
And just so you know, Pekka is trying to make sure that his young son does not want to be a goaltender. That's very important to Pekka.
He does
that
not
plays
want him
out.
to be.
Not a goaltender, no.
No. Well, good things for the Predators last season. Certainly a great night with the class of 2024 inducting him here, and obviously good things for the Predators to come after a special offseason. Pete Weber, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Mike. And let's hear it for Mike. Mike, the job that he does and has done year after year after year, sometimes under trying circumstances.
Thank you. Thank you, Pete. Our next inductee for the class of 2024, the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame, is Coach Charlie Bayless.
You can't bring up Happy Valley sports without bringing up one of the biggest names in that school's history, Charlie Bayless.
I don't know that there's anybody in this world that couldn't like Charlie Bayless.
Here's a guy, he's not even 40 years old. He's played in 2 state tournaments for Happy Valley. He's played on an undefeated regular season team. He coaches the team to the state tournament in 1961-62. And then they build this high school where we are today for the 62-63 season, and they named the gym after him. So he's not even 40 and all that's happened.
Through his time as basketball coach at Happy Valley, Bayless notched 932 wins, one of which was the 1974 state championship.
I still have nightmares from it. They beat us in the region tournament and went on and won the state tournament.
And the biggest obstacle I think we had was Hampton. They was ranked #1 in the state, and I think they beat us 3 times in the regular season, played them in the semifinals of the region, and that was a huge win for us. I mean, we knew then if we could beat them, we could beat anybody.
But basketball wasn't the only sport that he coached. He coached championship-winning teams in football, baseball, track, and golf.
He could do anything because kids followed him, kids loved him, and kids worked hard for him. And he's a pretty darn good coach too, and all of those. He was very competitive, but he was also a good loser.
You know, he was just simply a pillar not only in sports, but in the whole community. It was nothing for a coach to pick up the phone and call other coaches if they were a little bit down. And that's just what he did.
Yeah, he was such a great person. He was helpful to anybody that needed him, or he's just a great person.
For the 60 years that I knew Coach Bayless, to me, he was the same person. He was a fiery coach, a true competitor, and somebody with a giving heart.
We'd like to welcome the late Charlie Bayless into the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame, class of 2024.
Accepting on behalf of Charlie Bayless is his son-in-law, Greg Gouls. Don't do that, Greg. Thank you for being here. You can set
Thanks
that down
for having us.
in the chair next to it. So you're the son-in-law, but you also played for Charlie Bayless.
Correct. I played for him for 2 years.
Okay. What was his key to success?
Commitment.
Commitment.
Toughness. Loyalty.
Those are keys.
He taught
That's
us.
okay.
He taught us all that.
He taught us. He's a tough guy.
Demanding.
Fiery guy.
Yeah.
If Charlie Bayless was here tonight, what would he say that he was most proud of?
His family. His 4 daughters. His wife, Jane. He always gave more of himself to other people. He never wanted anybody to, to praise him. He was always on the second row. He didn't seek that out. He sought the needs of other people.
As you read about Charlie Bayless's former players, he was a very demanding coach, probably wasn't real tight with the players when he was coaching them, but after their careers, they became like a family. That family closeness that he developed with the guys who played for him and that he kept through the years, and we saw on the video. How would you even begin to describe how important that was to him and to your fellow former players?
Well, as I said before, I played for Coach for 2 years, but I spent a lot of time with him outside of the gym, and he always talked about, you know, my boys are lawyers, my boys are doctors, they're doing well in life.
They were still his boys.
They were still his boys. He always called them his boys, and they meant the world to him. And I've seen him do so many things for people that nobody ever knew about, you know, and being around him. And at home, we didn't always talk about basketball. We talked about life. He was good to me, buddy. He was good to me.
Well, Greg, congratulations to you and the entire family.
Thank you.
And to everybody in Happy Valley who loved Charlie Bayless. He's now in the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame.
Well, thank you. On behalf of his late wife, Jane, daughters, Saray, Kathy, Karen, and Charlene, and all the grandchildren and great-grandchildren, some of which are here, we humbly and thankfully accept this award. Thank you.
Good stuff. Thank you. Great job. All right. Our next inductee is Jean Patton Latimer.
Jean Patton Latimer was raised in Nashville, where she attended Pearl High School. She would go on to be one of the best track stars the city had ever seen. But before that, she was part of an historic Pearl High School basketball team.
Jean Patton Latimer was someone who sort of laid the groundwork or laid the foundation for someone like Wilma Rudolph to become so well known.
Proud to have her as my cousin, and I was just in awe in her presence.
We started at Tennessee State in 1949. Was not braggadocious about anything. She was a big achiever.
Jean went on to run track at Tennessee State University. But it was the 1951 inaugural Pan Am Games that really put Jean in the spotlight.
Jean was just a shining star, you know, winning events, dominating for the Americans. The Chilean team made friends with the American team and actually invited the Americans to come to an event in Chile to compete after the Pan American Games.
We were so proud of her when she won. And it was all over Nashville.
You know, I owe a lot to Jean because she taught me how to be professional. She came to me and said, you know what? With your character, you can work with anyone.
When she won gold medals for the 200 meters and the 4x100 meter relay, she received her new fitting title, World's Fastest Woman.
Some of the most powerful institutions kind of in the United States and even in the globe began to recognize kind of the power of athletics, including the power of a black woman athlete and kind of representing the country and representing the kind of goodwill that was wanting to be fostered.
We'd like to welcome Jean Patton Latimer into the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame, class of 2024.
Accepting on behalf of Jean Patton Latimer is her daughter, Lisa Latimer Peters. Lisa, come on over and see me. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes. When you read about Jean Patton Latimer, Trailblazer is used in every article, every single one. What, in your eyes, was the most important way that you think she was a trailblazer?
Most definitely, she was a trailblazer because she was Tennessee State's first women's track athlete to hold a world record. And she was also a triple medalist in the 1951 inaugural Pan American Games. And I agree with the term trailblazer because Tennessee State in the 50s and the 60s and beyond, their track and field program was exemplary. They competed internationally. They won. They set world records, and they were world known. And it was because, one of the reasons was because my mother started it off in 1949.
All right, so she got there before Coach Temple did. So did she regard herself as the first Tiger Bell?
I don't know if that's true.
Okay.
But she regards herself as a Tiger Bell.
Yeah.
Because the Tiger Bells became Tiger Bells in 1950.
Right.
She started running track in 1949. She had some teammates. And so she just basically claims that she is a Tiger Bell, and she has told me recently, I'm a Tiger Bell, and I'll always be one.
Beautiful. What did she regard as her most important accomplishment?
I can't say that there's just one, you know, because she has many. But she competed, and she did all this before Title IX. She's also Tennessee State's, first world record holder. She also had a career where she was committed to the differently abled individuals. So she actually planned fun activities and fitness-related activities for them as a certified recreational therapist.
Your mom couldn't be with us tonight, but she did send some remarks. Would you mind if we watch them?
I'd love for you to watch them.
Okay, let's put them up and have a chance to watch.
I'm honored to be included in the 2024 class of Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame. It's been over 70 years since I've competed as a student at TSU, which makes this more special for me to receive at the age of 93. Thank you to my home state of Tennessee and the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame for recognizing my contributions to women's athletics.
She's home. Congratulations. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Our next inductee is Coach Dave Luce.
Dave Luce has left his mark on athletics as the all-time winningest coach in OVC history, and he did that for the Austin Peay Governors.
Dave, in many ways, was like your favorite baseball glove that just fit perfectly. And for us at Austin Peay, he represented all the right things.
Not only does Dave have the most wins as an Austin Peay head coach in that school's history, he also has the most wins of any Ohio Valley Conference coach. He did that because he was so consistent. His teams were so good year in and year out.
Coach Luce, very competitive person. I think for strengths, he had the values, and my parents were able to sign off on that early.
And in 2016, the Governors made history when they became the first team ever in league history to win the Ohio Valley Conference tournament title as the bottom seed.
The success that he's had and the court being renamed in his honor speaks to the kind of person he was and the kind of kids that he brought into the program.
So just kind of seeing what he was able to do with his practice plans, practice habits into the game management, a little feisty here and there, is what I really enjoyed.
He didn't jump in there and try to get great immediately by taking chances on kids. He recruited the kind of young men that he wanted to play for him and to represent Austin Peay, and he gradually took Austin Peay to the top of the OVC and basketball programs.
Coach Luce was a father figure not only to me, but to many, and we appreciate that.
He was such a great hitter, and I responded that I was an equally good pitcher. We decided we would just kind of take it to the ball field and produced this photo that I can only guess he distributed to just about everybody that he knew in the city of Clarksville.
We'd like to welcome Dave Luce into the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame, class of 2024. Coach Luce, come on over here. Whoops. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Have a seat there. Now, we saw the baseball thing there.
Mm-hmm.
Did you really think baseball was going to be your game, what you would end up doing with your life initially?
Well, I hope so. Baseball was my favorite sport growing up. I started as a 6-year-old center fielder, and at that time they played 10 kids so that more kids got to play. I played short center, and I was so bad that they told me when the ball was hit to me to throw it behind me to the center fielder, and he would get it in. So
that's not true.
I got better. That is true.
Okay,
that is true.
Coach, the thing about Austin Peay, sustained success was your calling card. What allowed Governors basketball to be so good year in and year out while you were coaching the team?
I think it was the culture that we built, and of course at that time, we didn't have the transfer portal or anything like that, and our older guys would teach the younger guys, and it really worked for us. Guys like Bubba Wells and Trenton Hassel, and we had some really good players. A number of them are here tonight, and I sure appreciate them being here. But I think that's what the consistency was caused by.
You built a program, and
Absolutely.
The program kept restocking itself through the development of players.
Right.
You were also the only Division I basketball coach who was an athletic director. Mm-hmm. What was the most challenging part of doing both?
Well, I had to, I think, get done what I needed done before I got to the office, because when I got to the office, I was on somebody else's time, and I would spend early morning hours as the AD, and then I'd go down to the basketball office and we'd work on practice plans. So, we made it work, but I wouldn't advise it. It would be impossible today with the landscape of college athletics. But
a lot of people claim you. Memphis claims you. Obviously, Austin Peay claims you, your players, your family. You're one of the most liked people I have ever met in athletics. It's so happy to be here for you to be inducted as part of the class of 2024 of the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame. Thank you.
Thank you. It's an honor.
All right. Need a hand?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you very much.
Good job. I appreciate it. Thank you. Our next inductee is the late W.S. Babe Howard. Millington, Tennessee would not be what it is today if it wasn't for Babe Howard. The World War II veteran came back to his hometown of Millington and took over his family's telephone business, but that was just a start of what Babe would do for his hometown.
So Mr. Howard built the stadium so that these kids could be seen and get scholarships to college and that sort of thing.
Did 7 tours with the national team, but 4 were headquartered in Millington, Tennessee. Many of our games were held right there in the facility that Babe Howard and his family built.
He was such a versatile man. You couldn't cover all the fields of his interest and knowledge in a month.
Telephones, baseball, conservation, and fainting goats. Babe loved his hometown.
He was very interested in providing a great environment for the young men to play in. You know, whatever we needed for the program, he always provided, really never questioned it.
By playing for the baseball team, he would employ you at the Millington Telephone Company or at his farm.
We'd run into him at Old Timers in the morning when we have breakfast as a team. What a tremendous treasure he was to Millington, Tennessee, and to USA Baseball.
Babe's Field would become the official training field for the Olympic baseball team from 1982 through 92.
His idea of building a training facility for the Olympic baseball team was something that no one ever thought of, and the whole community came together to help with that, and he was just well ahead of his time.
We had several others that played professional ball after they left here that wouldn't even have gotten to play ball if it hadn't been for Mr. Howard and building this stadium. So he touched the lives of many of these young gentlemen that grew up in the community and outside of our community.
I don't think they could have made a better choice than Mr. Babe Howard to enter this exclusive group of people that are in that Hall of Fame.
Babe's infectious personality was seen by most everyone that he came in contact with.
You just couldn't help but like him. He was like everybody's father. He was a community leader, and I thought the world of the man. He was a good man.
We'd like to welcome Babe Howard into the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame class of 2024. Accepting on behalf of W.S. Babe Howard, the Howard siblings, Stuart Howard, Laura Rosas, and Holly Starnes. We'll get them to come up here. Get a picture here. Come on up. Thank you so much for being here. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That facility, to those of us who had a chance to play amateur baseball in this state, that was the field of dreams in Tennessee.
It wasn't quite a cornfield, but
No, it wasn't quite a cornfield, but I mean, when you went by there and you saw it, you realized it was the most special stadium in the state. Why did he feel like baseball was so important to make that kind of investment? What was it about the game?
well, the short answer to that question would be that he felt like it was an opportunity for young men to get visibility, to get college scholarships, they might not be able to attend college otherwise. If you're familiar with Millington, it's just north of Memphis. It's North Shelby County. There's South Tipton County right above us. And, Millington is overlooked because of Memphis, And Millington was a military town at the time. It still is, but not quite the same. It's fairly rural, and so those guys weren't getting the visibility. They didn't have the opportunities that Memphis high school students did. And so that was basically it. He wanted to give those guys from Millington and South Tipton County the opportunity to get college scholarships.
But he didn't just build a stadium. He built a fabulous facility. Why did he go to that level?
Well, it didn't start out the fabulous facility.
Okay.
It started out just being a baseball field. And again, it was the Millington-Memphis thing. The Millington Telephone American Legion team had to go to Memphis to play ball. And I think they might have had to go out there to practice some. And I think he got tired of that. And so he decided to build a stadium or a field himself. And that was in '82 that it started. And it just grew. It didn't start out being what it ended up being. It just grew and grew and grew. And his timing happened to be perfect. He had a falling out with the American Legion, so he quit having the American Legion baseball team, and USA Baseball needed a field, and his timing was perfect.
It's amazing who came through there during those 10 years.
It is.
Some of the biggest names. He had an incredible life, and his athletic contributions were certainly not all he did well in his life. Where would he rank the building of Millington Legion Field, as it was known, in terms of his life's accomplishments, and what would he think of tonight?
That's a very intriguing question. I doubt very seriously that he would rank, that he ranked his accomplishments in general. When I was talking to Spencer Fritz about the video that he was making, he told me he had 2 minutes to make a video. And I thought, do you really think you can summarize my dad's life in 2 minutes? Because there's a lot there, and he did a great job. But Daddy did a lot. He had a sorghum mill. He manufactured sorghum. He had a restaurant. He had the telephone company, a cable TV company, miniature goats. Feigning goats, miniature horses. You name it. He had all kinds of stuff. He founded International Goat Days. The list goes on. But one of his most impressive accomplishments would be he saved Ghost River. There was a section of Wolf River near us that was going to be sold to a logging company. Was it a logging company? A logging company, and it would have been damaged beyond repair, and Daddy put up the money to save it. So, USA Stadium was is a great accomplishment, but I think that he tried to do what he could to make Millington the best that he could. He tried to do stuff for individuals. USA Stadium did great things for Millington, but one of the guys that was being interviewed was Doug Forsythe, and Doug Forsythe played baseball for the American Legion team, and he's a veteran from the Air Force. He's now a pilot for FedEx. And Daddy's been gone for 16 years, but people still say, let me tell you what your dad did for me. And that's what, I ran into Doug one day, he said, let me tell you what your dad did for me. He said, he got me into the Air Force. He changed Doug's life, and I think that's what meant the most to him. So USA Stadium was great, and it did a lot, but so did a lot of the other things that he did.
Well, for this, we're proud to have him in the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Wonderful job. Thank you. Congratulations. Next, the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame is proud to induct longtime tennis pro at Belle Meade Country Club, Faye Bucci. Starting in Shreveport, Louisiana, Faye Bucci played at Louisiana Tech and represented the university in #1 singles for 3 consecutive years. He helped lead the team to the Gulf State Conference Team Championship in 1962. But Faye's impact didn't just stop at sports.
Just a beautiful example of what it looks like to teach and lead, and also to excel and pursue excellence along the way.
Faye found what would be his life's calling in coaching and developing young players. Faye became the head tennis pro at Belle Meade Country Club in 1970.
The beautiful thing about Faye for me as a coach was his ability to one, do well inside the fence, but also be a father figure to us outside the fence.
And he knew I was not enjoying the game so much, and he entirely encouraged me to say, take some time off, regroup a little bit. And he showed that he cared more about me as a person than he did as a player, and that always meant a lot to me.
I was certainly not the fastest player on the court, and he really taught me how to develop and use all of my shots and to utilize all of those in a way that I could win a point against someone who was maybe a bigger hitter or faster than me.
But Faye didn't just coach tennis. He continued competing. He won 9 United States Registry Singles Championships and 4 Doubles Championships.
Faye is one of the most well-mannered, polite individuals that I've ever been associated with. And I think that's part of his teaching technique, is to be cool, calm, and collected.
We're honored to welcome Faye Bucci into the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame, class of 2024. Yes. 41 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
First of all, how did you get into tennis in Louisiana? How did you pick up the game?
Broke my right arm twice playing football, and I was trying to rehab. This is
Really?
back in the dark ages, they didn't have the sophisticated rehab. And then once I got started with tennis, I loved it, so stayed with it.
How did you develop your love of teaching the game of tennis?
I was incredibly fortunate to assist Maureen Conley for 3 years. First lady to ever win a Grand Slam. Tremendous person, and basically we just worked with one student. She was in Dallas, I was in St. Petersburg, Florida.
So you built your reputation that way and grew to love that part of it.
Well, I learned tennis that way.
All right, here's what I'm really fascinated about, because if you talk to a golf professional, they say they rarely get to play golf because they're so busy with all the other things at the club. So how did you maintain your skills as a tennis pro when you were literally teaching hundreds of students regularly, and yet you were able to play so well and win so much while you were still continuing to teach?
I'm an early morning person, and you can do a lot with a ball machine, and so that's what I did. I did a lot with the ball machine before I started the day.
What was really amazing in this is, I mean, we could have interviewed hundreds of people about the influence that you've had on their game. This was not a tough decision about putting you in the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame. With your impact on the game, the way you played it, and the way you taught it to literally thousands of people, a love and appreciation for what is a great sport. We congratulate you on being one of the newest inductees into the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Pleasure. The next member of the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame class of 2024, legendary East Tennessee State University golf coach Fred Warren.
East Tennessee State University has long been known for their exceptional golf, churning out prestigious players and consistently ranging among the best in the Southern Conference. Several people have helped to build that program to what it is today, but one man stands at the top, Fred Warren.
My first reaction when I met Coach was, this guy means business.
Before Coach got there, the program had been disbanded, and he started it basically from scratch. And then to build a powerhouse, not only in the conference, but from nationally, and you know, be a #1 ranked team in the country.
Fred played at UCLA before serving as an officer in the U.S. Marine Corps for 4 years. He went on to coach for Texas Christian and then Oklahoma State before finding his way to Johnson City.
He's always looking for that extra sort of 1% that players crave at the highest level.
It was amazing 4 years. There's no way I'd be kind of where I am in my career today without him. You know, it's great influence.
No stone will go unturned to try and help you as a player improve your game and therefore collectively improve the team.
Warren's teams over the next 30 years were stacked with championships and victories.
Character is everything to coach. For as much as I learned from him on the golf course, I learned just as much, if not more, off it.
He never had any excuses, never felt like he was an underdog or that we couldn't be the best of the best and have the best of the best.
He has helped to churn out some of the best golfers Tennessee has ever seen.
His overall enthusiasm comes through and his relentless nature to always try and get better.
Coach, thank you for everything. So much of who I am today is because of you.
If I had to do it all over again, I would 100% go and play for Coach Warren and 100% go up to play at East Tennessee State.
We'd like to welcome Fred Warren into the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame, class of 2024. Come here, Fred Warren. We got to talk about this.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
How do you get from Stillwater, Oklahoma to Johnson City? How do you end up going from Oklahoma State to East Tennessee State?
I-40.
Oh.
You know, first it's interesting. Well, I don't know, there may be another way now. But in 1986, it's interesting, and a lot of people know Oklahoma State has won 11 national championships, and I was an assistant there. And the initial connection was some of the players on Oklahoma State knew some of the good players from ETSU, and they had dropped their program. It's interesting, I was contacted, and I read into it, I wasn't interested, but I guess the reason I'm saying this is kind of a plan of God overrides other things. But a week before camp started in Stillwater at Oklahoma State, I was free and they wanted to have an interview then, so I thought, well, I'll just go to ETSU and look at it. But by the time I looked at it, I decided I didn't want it. And so the morning of the interview, I flew in that night, the morning of the interview about 9, and actually there's a photo up there with Bill Green, who many people know, owner of Banquet, Tennessee, and was involved in bringing it back. And there were 6 people in that room, and this is how interviews go, how you prepare for them. And they threw out a softball question. It says, tell us why you want the job. And I said, I don't want the job. And
in the interview?
Yes, that's how it started. Yeah. And I'll just say this without missing a beat. Mr. Green says, okay, why don't you tell us why you don't want the job? And we talked for 2 hours, and I'll say this is true. That afternoon, I was supposed to meet the athletic director and the president, because I went on tours in the morning, and the assistant basketball coach was my escort. And I called the airport, and I said, there's a flight at 1:30. If you can get me to the airport now, I can go home now so I won't waste everybody's time. And I flew home. They called at 7 a.m. the next day and offered me the job. And I turned it down again. And I ended up the next 34 years there.
All right. So if you don't know the story, and those in the room who know college golf understand, he mentioned Oklahoma State, 11 national championships. If you know,
as an assistant, not a head.
Oh, I know, but I'm talking about the program. Yeah. East Tennessee State became one of those programs. Under Fred Warren, they became known among those teams. They were a consistent top 10, top 15, top 20, some years top 5. I mean, they were in the mix with the big boys. How were you able to do that?
Well, you have to have the talent. And one thing that didn't show up there, that's one of our highlights, well, 2 highlights ETSU know. In the 1996 NCAA, which is at the honors course, Tiger Woods won individually. Stanford, their team, who had won the year before, finished 4th. We finished 3rd. So we're kind of known for beating the last team that Tiger Woods played for. And the other thing, we're known for a school that for signing a player that never played college golf. That's Rory McIlroy. So we got some good players. They came over and visited, and Johnson City's a great place to live. And it's anybody. And the state of Tennessee, I'll just tell you this, that's one of the biggest blessings. This is the greatest state in America, in my opinion. But they were attracted to the campus and the school and our facilities. And when you have a little success, it breeds more success.
What are you most proud of through your program?
I think we've had a lot of successful people, and I do want to say this, like a young man, Peter Wilson, who's on that, who's here tonight, flew in from New York, could have been a tour player. He's that talent, but he had some orthopedic issues, and now he's a very successful banker at J.P. Morgan Chase, and so I'm proud of that as much as any of our tour players. We've had a number of PGA Tour and European Tour winners, and so I guess I'm proud that we were able to give some young men an opportunity to develop their talent.
Fred Warren, you're a legend. East Tennessee State will always love you, and they absolutely should. And you are part of a great class of 2024, and I'm thrilled to welcome you.
Mike,
congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
Wow. Our next inductee into the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame class of 2024, tennis giant Paul Annacone.
One of the world's leading tennis coaches and commentators, studied and played at the University of Tennessee, the one and only Paul Annacone.
I don't know how many people have touched the world of tennis at the international level as Paul Annacone. He was a terrific player at the University of Tennessee.
Paul was a little unique in that he came to net a lot, attacked the net, had great eye-hand coordination. So he was a lot of fun to watch in college because he could apply a lot of pressure.
Rises to number 12 in the world, turns to coaching to major championships, and then he becomes a commentator for the Tennis Channel.
Paul made his mark on the tennis world, starting at Tennessee, where he was not only named the Intercollegiate Tennis Association Player of the Year, but also named All-SEC and All-America all 3 years that he attended.
And not many college players played that way. A lot of them were big baseline grinders, but Paul played just a little bit different style.
So when it became time for Paul to trance into the coaching world, he started with Pete Sampras, who at that point was #1 in the world.
Coaching, commentating, Paul has done it all and truly left his mark on the game of tennis.
He was pretty impressive in the coaching world with his knowledge, and even today on a Tennis Channel, a lot of my friends, they'll come and say, God, that Annacone really knows what he's talking about.
Paul never said anything negatively about anybody. He was always extremely positive, very articulate. Paul probably has one of the brightest minds in the game of tennis.
He has so much humility. He takes no credit for the success of the players that he coaches. He's a first-class gentleman and a great representative of the University of Tennessee.
We'd like to welcome Paul Annacone into the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame, class of 2024. Come on over here, Paul. Welcome back to Tennessee.
Thank you.
I think so. You've clearly done that before. I got to start with, how does the late, great Mike DePalmer convince a kid from Long Island to come to Knoxville, Tennessee?
Well, I was at the Nick Bollettieri Tennis Academy with Coach DePalmer, and his daughter's right over there somewhere here tonight. And I got to know Coach when I was 13 years of age, and he became coach, father figure, mentor. And when he got the job at UT, he brought me up on a recruiting trip, and I'm a sports fan, so I came up on the recruiting trip. We watched UT play Alabama, a little bit of a rivalry there. And I'm this small town kid from East Hampton, New York, come into this big 96,000 seat stadium, Neyland Stadium. And Tennessee's down, I believe it was about 38-6, and it was pouring rain. Absolutely pouring, and there was about 6 minutes left and no one had left. And so I kind of looked around, and Coach DePalmer said, this is why you have to come to Tennessee. They love sports, they stick with you through thick and thin, and you'll enjoy every moment of it. And I was hooked.
We saw what your accomplishments were at Tennessee. You became a top 12 player professionally in the world. You consistently ranked in the top 5 among doubles, so you had success on the court. Why and how did you transition to coaching?
It was a little bit of an accident. I started coaching some players as I was kind of phasing out, and then Pete Sampras's coach back in the day was a dear friend named Tim Gullickson who got sick. He actually got diagnosed with brain cancer, and we were all very good friends, and I was winding down my career, and Tim said, would you help Pete while I battle this? And Pete said, that would be great if you did that. And so the goal was to make a horrible situation as good as we could possibly make it, and for Timmy to get back out there and coach. And for about 1.5 years, he fought hard and inevitably succumbed to the heinous disease, and that was kind of the beginning of my coaching legacy. And I got to spend 7 great years with Pete, and from there it's just been another day of living my dream. Ever since I was a little kid, I've been able to kind of fork my way through the world playing tennis, coaching tennis, talking about tennis, and my wife still puts up with it. I don't know how, but she does.
40 years
that you've made a living.
You had to say it.
Well, no,
I mean, I was feeling so good about myself.
I didn't give your age.
Okay, all right.
I mean, I can list it. It's here.
No, shh. Okay.
But 40 years doing what you love in different ways, making a living with the game that you love so much. How have you been able to sustain a career in tennis for 4+ decades?
I think because the biggest thing and the biggest rule of life that I've learned is you always have to be a sponge. You have to be interested and interesting. And as soon as you think you know everything about whatever you do, you're in trouble. And so every time I'm with a new player, every time I watch a new tennis match, every time even I listen to my old roommate, Eric Voges, I think about what they say. I figure out if I can learn something. I figure out if it's relevant to my life on or off the court. And I feel like I'm a student of life, and that kind of drives my passion to be a student of learning about tennis and hopefully helping other people do it as well.
Welcome back to Tennessee, and welcome to the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Our next inductee into the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame is Tennessee baseball great Chris Burke.
The University of Tennessee has churned out some phenomenal baseball players over the years. One of those players was Chris Burke.
The first time I saw Chris was in the fall. I went to a game and I got to see him play and was so impressed with just his energy.
Everybody tosses the term GOAT around, right? Whether it's Michael Jordan, whether it's LeBron, whether it's this person or that person.
You know, one of the things that Chris was really good at is competing, man. He hated to lose.
It wasn't just on the baseball field, it was really in everything he did. Incoming as a freshman, he was a leader. He was a great teammate, and proud to have played with him.
When I talked to him after the game, he looked me straight in the eyes, and you could see his energy, and you could just see he had the it factor. And when we got him to campus, you realized how much of an it factor he had. He became a tremendous player for us, and very quickly.
Burke was a true standout for the Volunteers. Professionally, Chris continued to make his mark first with the Houston Astros.
I guess the highlight of his career was when he hit the walk-off home run for the Astros to beat the Atlanta Braves. That was a great moment in his career, and that was a great moment in the Houston Astros organization.
I can remember the legendary home run Chris hit. Just to see him in that moment accomplish such a great thing, it was awesome. I mean, just awesome.
To me, he's the greatest of all time at the University of Tennessee.
Burke continues to live and breathe the game as a live event and studio analyst for both ESPN and the SEC Network.
It's no surprise to me that he went into broadcasting, and he's done a great job with the ESPN network and the SEC network as far as covering college baseball as an analyst.
Chris has always been, you know, a man of high character, and you know, kind of everything he says he's going to do, he's going to do.
He epitomized, you know, what it was that I wanted to be as a person.
We'd like to welcome Chris Burke into the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame, class of 2024.
Chris, welcome. Congratulations. The number one question that I have for you right off the bat, you called the Tennessee games in the College World Series. How did you maintain the level of objectivity that you did?
It was very hard, very hard. You know, I'm extremely proud of what Tony's done and love his players. I've gotten to know him a lot, especially the Moore, Burke, Beam group. So it was hard. It was honestly one of the hardest things. It's what I do is not work, but whatever you call what I do, my job, I guess, that's one of the hardest things I've had to do, which was try to veil my fandom and call those games to the point where I probably didn't give Tony and the program enough love. And those of you who tweeted at me, thank you. I made sure I wore orange for you tonight, so.
But you got a job to do.
Yeah, I got a job to do, and I got to call the game, but you know, I just Tony went first, so I hope it doesn't feel like I'm saying nice things because he said nice things about me. But what he's done is remarkable as somebody that's in the industry that has an insane amount of respect for what those men do to lead those programs. What Tony's done is remarkable, and they have the best program in the country over the last 4 years, and they're not slowing down. And winning a national championship is a huge deal, but even more so from where they came from. I don't think anybody, Coach Fulmer probably has a little perspective on it. I have a little perspective on it. Only Tony and his staff really know all that they did, but I was very proud, but I tried to call the game. So it was a hard deal, but just couldn't be more proud of what they built and what they continue to do to make all of us have a blast during college baseball season.
In following you and in looking at everything you did in the big leagues, I still go back to 2001. Your 2001 season at the University of Tennessee is one of the most remarkable statistical achievements offensively of any player in SEC history. As you look back at that year and those numbers, what jumps out to you the most? Or have you looked back at it?
Yeah, well, Simo made me check those stats a few times this year, which...
Well, he didn't steal the bases you did.
Yeah, no.
He didn't hit 435.
Yeah, he hit 34 homers. But I like the hits. I like getting hits. I will tell you that. That's probably the one I hang my hat on the most. I enjoy getting hits. So I tell my boys all the time, getting hits are fun. Try not to get married to them. But, you know, the 2001 season, I got some teammates here tonight that I want to say thank you for coming. We have more pitchers than hitters. I don't know what that says about maybe I was too mean to the hitters. I don't know, but it's a blast seeing these guys here tonight. But I think that year was, you know, Slim said on the video the best moment of my career, whatever, was that home run I hit with the Astros. It was the one I'm most remembered for, but right. the best thing about my playing career was playing with these guys, yeah, and going to College World Series for sure.
You're one of the lead voices of college baseball. You are one of those guys who, and you talk about being objective and having to give credit to all programs and things like that, but you're promoting the game in that way. What is the responsibility that comes with that in your mind, and what do you enjoy most about that opportunity?
That I mean it. You know, ever since I got started, people have been encouraging, telling me they think I have, you know, ability to do what I do, and I appreciate it. Then their next question is always, when are you going to start doing more big league games? And I always said, I don't want to. I love the college game. There's nothing I'd rather do. You know, I agree with Paul. Like, I'm so fortunate to do what I do. And I love the college game. It's flawed. It's messy. They're amateurs, but it's so intense. Every game matters. The passion of the Southeastern Conference is unmatched. And I wouldn't trade that for any Major League Stadium or Major League Hotel. Thank you, by the way. This is a nice Major League Hotel we're staying in here tonight. But I'll gladly stay at a Hilton Garden Inn in Gainesville to call Tennessee and Florida and watch the passion of those young athletes. There's something cool, too, about seeing them before they make it that I really get a kick out of.
What does being inducted into the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame mean to you?
Well, I'm eternally grateful to Slim and Coach Delmonico for giving me the chance to be a volunteer. Coach D talked about it a little bit. Sometimes, you know, I got some young boys that play, and I look back, I'm in the amateur game quite a bit, and I think, man, so grateful they thought I was any good. And they gave me a chance to play at Tennessee. My parents who are here let me choose Tennessee over Notre Dame, which is something that I will never forget. And I'm
tough for a guy from Louisville.
Tough from a guy that went to St. Xavier High School in Louisville, Kentucky, for his parents to let him go to University of Tennessee, so over Notre Dame. But so grateful they did, and grateful my wife followed me. She went to university. She's actually the one with a degree from the school because I only went 3 years. But anyway, what it means is that I'm a part of the state. I feel a part of the state. Certainly feel connected to the school, but my kids, every time we cross the state line, they start cheering, and we usually play Rocky Top, and we just feel home here. So it's great to be a part of the state.
Chris Burke, congratulations.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Great job.
Our next inductee, champion Memphis racquetball player and coach, Larry Lyles.
Larry Lyles is one of the biggest names in the history of racquetball. After attending the University of Memphis, Lyles went on to coach their team from 1975 to 2003, winning an astounding amount of championships.
I was told by a lot of people that if you really want to go someplace and play racquetball at a high level, you need to go to Memphis and play for Larry Lyles.
I met Larry in 1982 at the U.S. National Singles. I was in high school, and my dream was to go to Memphis State.
Coach Lyles was running the most dominant racquetball program in the world at the time, and that was the place to be. I was born and raised in Memphis.
But his coaching did not stop at the collegiate level. He coached the U.S. Olympic team for 3 years and has served on the USRA Collegiate Council for 25 years.
He was always very fair and very calm. He knew how to really zone in on what each person needed.
He literally recruited players from all over the world. I wouldn't be the player I was without his instruction or the impact he had in my game.
Most coaches just coach. Larry had to do it all.
And they were really, really lucky and honored to have him accept that position.
Lyles has truly dominated the game as a player and coach, so much so that the USRA has named their national championship trophy after him.
Our memories, relationship with Larry went beyond the court.
He is an unbelievable character. He's true to his word.
You modeled the way for all the kids that came to that program for years.
Larry really cared about his players. He treated us all like family.
On behalf of all the players that have played for you, thank you.
We'd like to welcome Larry Lyles into the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame, class of 2024.
Congratulations.
Thank you very
It's
much.
a pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
This is the father of collegiate racquetball. How about that?
I feel old. I feel real old.
But I mean, how many people get called the father of a sport? We mentioned that the USRA named their national championship trophy after you. You're a racquetball royalty. How did racquetball become such a part of your life?
Well, Memphis was a hotbed for racquetball. And as I went to University of Memphis, Memphis State at that time, I went there to play baseball. I was a catcher. And I love sports. I used to be a handball player. And one day I get a call from a guy and said, I'm going to go down to the church down in Midtown to play you. I've been out of town and I want to play you. I hear you're really good. So I said, fine. So when I get down there, I thought we were playing handball. This guy walked in with some wooden paddles, wooden rackets, and he said, this is a new sport called racquetball. And I said, whoa. So I proceeded to beat his brains out. And
First time?
First time. And I was a decent tennis player, and I picked up racquetball really quickly, and
Obviously.
Once you start something like that, it's kind of an addiction like golf, and it went from there. And then as I was at the university, I was teaching some classes as a graduate assistant, and then the guy who was coaching the team said, you're so much better than I am, why don't you take over the team? So I did. And I didn't miss a beat, loved every minute of it, and love all these kids. I call them kids. They're well adults now. We had a team that just loved each other, and I think the coach that was before me traveled to 2 tournaments, and the first year I was a coach, I think we traveled 20. So we were very successful, and I think the main reason we were successful is we had a hotbed of players there in Memphis, and once you develop a program and you're successful, everybody wants to go to it. And as people came in to go to the university, they learned an awful lot, not only from me, but from the other players that were really good there.
Yeah, 29 national championships. How about that?
Thank you.
Well, yeah. And you kept playing while you were coaching, and you kept winning championships at all levels. So in your coaching, did you just keep playing against your college players? Is that how you?
That's the only way you're going to get good. I had players that were national champions, regional champions, and several of them were world champions. And it was a difficult thing as I got older to play with them, but you do what you got to do. But it was wonderful that they were willing to share their expertise with the players coming in, and it just got to where we fed off each other. Everybody loved it, and everybody loved to be with each other.
I want to wrap up with this. Look at all the sports represented tonight. It's amazing, isn't it?
Amen.
I mean, it's crazy. And this is one of the great things about the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame banquet every year is people say, wow, look at how many sports are represented. Look at people who you get to hear these stories. For you, what do you think it means for the University of Memphis and for the game of racquetball that you're being inducted into the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame tonight?
Well, I think in the years past, it probably meant an awful lot now that there is no program there at the university. It was very difficult to leave the program and for the program to leave the university. But I think that anything that you can do to give the university recognition, I think it's wonderful. And I do appreciate Brad and your staff for what you've done. This has been an exciting, wonderful time, and it's so good to be with my ex-players who we've just renewed our friendships, and it's just been a wonderful time. And all my family's here, and we've all shared love and time together and good memories. And last night we had a big dinner, and a lot of my players were there, and the stories just kept flowing. We could have stayed there all night, but when you get older, you're supposed to go to bed at 8:30, I thought, but like a lot of y'all ready to go now.
What are you saying?
I'm saying, I didn't know I was going to be last, but this is okay.
Well, this is good stuff, and your story is amazing, and it's an honor to have you part of the class of 2024 of the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame.
It's an honor to be in.
Thank you,
you very much.
The Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame Board of Directors has within its rights the ability to award a Tennessean of the Year designation. In years where the board deems an individual or organization worthy, the Tennessean of the Year is selected for making significant contributions to our society through sports or other methods, demonstrating strong character and high-profile leadership. This award is sponsored by the Tennessee Education Lottery. This year, the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame wishes to spotlight legendary Tennessean Bill Dance.
Buddy, nobody could be more deserving for the state of Tennessee's highest honor than you, Bill Dance. What you mean to your state, but really what you mean to America.
And when BASS started, I was a fisherman, and all of a sudden here's a competitive deal in fishing, which I was the competitor.
And I was in awe. I was too embarrassed to go up to him and introduce myself. I was intimidated by Bill Dance. He was bigger than life to me.
And most people back then look at fishermen as kind of hillbillies. And so all of a sudden I saw this guy that really projected a completely different image, and I loved it. He was intelligent.
I mean, he is the most iconic bass fisherman in the history of bass fishing.
And then you look at his achievements, what Bill did in the tournaments. I mean, he was always there. He was consistent. But Angler of the Year takes the most talent, no doubt about it. And Bill was Angler of the Year multiple times, so I always respected his ability as a fisherman.
Generations of fishermen have grew up watching Bill Dance.
Everybody knows Bill, knows he's got that tee night and day. I think he sleeps in that Tennessee cap.
In all honesty, I don't know that you could have paid him to take, I don't think you could have paid him to put another hat on over the Tennessee.
And Bill, since I first met you to this very day, you make me happy, you make everybody happy.
And when you look at what he's done for fishing in general, I don't know that I would have ever made it had it not been for Bill Dance paving the way for me, and I'm so grateful for that. Bill Dance is your crown jewel. He's done more. He's wore that Tennessee hat. He's literally recruited millions of fishermen around this world.
You have always been you, whether it was TV or, you know, in person, at dinner, whatever, and I so respect that about you.
Bill Dance is a great human being.
It's an honor to meet you, sir.
Good to see you, Mike.
I have to tell you, I just feel a bit inadequate to the point. Wait a minute. Hey, man. Okay, this is
There we go.
Doesn't this feel better? Thank you. Do you recall the first time you ever went fishing and where that might be? Do you have a memory of that to sort of gauge how long you've actually been loving fishing?
Well, I can remember as a youngster growing up in Middle Tennessee, Lynchburg. I had a daddy and a granddaddy that gave me the greatest gift of all, was teaching me how to fish. And my grandparents lived within a stone throw of Mulberry Creek. And I was on that creek constantly. But one of them was usually with me when I'd go there. And my grandfather, being a doctor, taught me a lot about sound, how fish hear, how fish see. And I learned a lot from fish anatomy as far as what fish do and how fish do in current and moving water, which today is still my favorite form of fishing. But I owe them a tremendous amount being able to teach me. But I could remember going to the creek with my granddaddy, and I'd play in the creek down below from where he was fishing. And I'd watch him catch a fish or two, and I finally got up there and he'd hang a fish and give me the rod and let me reel it in. And I said, boy, that turned me on. And I said, well, I like this. And I continued to fish the creek, and the older I got, I started fishing by myself on the creek. And I learned a lot, but I do remember those early days of fishing on Mulberry Creek with my grandmother, in fact, would go with me sometimes. She'd shred a quilt and crochet, and I'd sit there and fish in the creek. But one thing she always did, we had dinner at 11:30. We had supper at 6 o'clock. And there at Jack Daniel's Distillery in the glove factory, they had a siren. And when I heard that siren, I better be sitting at that table, you know, in the house. Grandmother sometimes would come out and she'd take a pan with a wooden spoon and beat on it. And I said, boy, I got 15 minutes, I better get. And so I'd head in. But I do remember those days.
Your career since then has been described as influential, wildly entertaining. How would Bill Dance describe Bill Dance's career?
Well, I was blessed to kind of back up a little bit. I always dreamed some way, somehow, I wanted to get into this industry, into the fishing tackle industry. And as I grew older, well, I'm going to say bass tournaments, but I'm kind of jumping forward. But I would go as often as I could and trying to learn things. And I met a guy on Pickwick Lake on the Tennessee River, right outside Savannah, Tennessee. And he caught some fish in deep water. And I grew up fishing the Oxbow Lakes south and north of Memphis. And if I fished a bait over 6 or 8 feet of water, I thought I was fishing, in the ocean. And this guy was a deep water fisherman. and he showed me a couple of things about it, and he became a good friend. And I would call and ask him questions about fishing. And I knew right then that if I was going to succeed and be good at this sport, I had to learn how to fish summer, fall, winter, spring, cold water, hot water, muddy water, clear water. And I had to learn how to fish lowland to Midland to Highland type lakes. And it was a learning situation. Did I get skunked? Yeah, many, many times I got skunked. But I just made my mind up and had the determination, I'm going to learn how to do this. And I finally learned how to read topo maps and to take a line compass and triangulate a 90-degree spot out in the middle of the lake. And when the bass tournament started, which really started kicking off my career, I'd be out in the middle of the lake, and a lot of the other fishermen would be along the bank. And this fellow told me, he said, I want to tell you something. For every fish you see right here against the bank, there's 10 behind you. And he was actually, it was fact. So I learned that process of moving out, fishing deeper water. And that really helped my career tremendously. I had the desire, I had the determination, and the confidence to keep going and keep going. And the more I went, the more I learned. And everybody I fished with, I tried to learn something from them. Now, I may have learned I never want to fish with them again, but at least I learned something. So my career, it jumped from then to, I started doing extremely well in the tournaments. I won several, and I placed high in several. And that opened the door. I started writing an article in the Memphis newspaper. I started doing local radio. Started a television show in Memphis, which branched out into syndication, and then we went national. And from we started where we really got our start. It really, really helped us. We started with a network here in Nashville, Tennessee called the Nashville Network, TNN. And the demographics were just perfect, absolutely perfect. We had bull riding, we had NASCAR racing, we had
Ralph Embry. Ralph Embry.
Oh, yeah, Ralph was a great guy.
Yeah.
Oh, Ralph. I was on his show several times. But anyway, that network really helped us. And we picked up some major sponsors then. We picked up Anheuser-Busch. We picked up Purina. We picked up Chevrolet. And my whole world started to turn at that point, and it was getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So we rocked along with TNN for about 13 years, and then 14, and then they kind of changed hands, Gaylord Enterprises, and we went with NBC Sports, the Discovery Channel, and Sportsman Channel, and Outdoor Channel. And today, demographically, we were still on the air. We'll air probably 1,042 airings for 25. So with the 39 original shows we shoot a year, freshwater and saltwater, we've got a lot going. And
what a legacy. And in our state, I mean, you're one of the great ambassadors.
Thank you.
What's it like to have a program and lakes across our state that are going to carry your name for a lifetime, through your children and grandchildren's lifetime? It's a legacy that honors your contribution to fishing, to youth development, to conservation. What does it mean to you?
Well, I want to thank Governor Lee for giving me an opportunity to gave us a lot of money, and we picked a bunch of lakes across the state. And most of those were in kind of depressed areas. And we knew that if we could build up the lake, we can improve above water and underwater habitat and better bathrooms, better launching ramps, and we could stock it with fish. The fish would grow with high protein forage, that we could generate a lot of business into that area, which would help the economy tremendously. And Governor Lee was high on that. And he gave me a kickstart. And then Tennessee Tourism, Commissioner Ezell, pitched in, started helping us. So we had the state of Tennessee, Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency, and we had Tennessee Tourism, which was a sponsor of Bill Dance Outdoors for a long, long time. It goes back about 20 years. But to have these lakes and to be able to do certain things to them, put the type of habitat that I think was best for it, the type of forage that we needed to put in, how to manage the lake, keep it fertilized, a lot of little things. And working with Tennessee Wildlife, TWRA, and Tennessee Tourism, and what Governor Lee had given us, it's tremendous. It's tremendous. Words can't really describe. You drive along, you see a lake with your name on it, and that meant a lot. It really has.
A lot of people would like to thank you, but I've got one in particular who couldn't be here tonight who would like to thank you. Let's take a look at the video.
Okay.
I'm finding out that Mr. Bill Dance is the Tennessean of the Year, and I tell you what, nobody is more deserving than Sir Bill Dance. Just his legacy to the sport of bass fishing and the sport of being an amazing human being. His legacy just has shaped my life and so many other people. To get to meet Bill, to know Bill, for him to be the person that you always dreamed he would be. I mean, he's so engaging. He's spent time teaching my boys how to tie fishing knots, and just his whole way he goes about life. Whenever you're in the room with Bill Dance, you feel like you have one-on-one time with him, and the way he engages you is something that true heroes and icons know how to do. And he's always come to help us at our charity event at the house. He's always been the best sport, and he's always given himself back to the community. And he's just one of the best dudes ever, one of the funniest guys ever. And my life is better because I've gotten to develop a friendship with Bill Dance and his family. And here's to Bill, and the next time he and I get to go fishing together. I love you, Bill, and congratulations.
Thank you, Luke. What a guy.
We got two more inductees, and they're going to have to follow Bill Dance, and I can't believe they're going to have to do this. But I gotten to do this since 2000, host this dinner, and I can honestly say that having the chance to sit with you and wear one of your caps.
Thank you.
And shake your hand and congratulate you on being Tennessean of the Year means so much.
Thanks so much, Mike. Thank you.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate all of you being here tonight. Thanks for all your support and everyone supporting this event. Thank you so, so much. God bless.
So it could only be next, the only guy who could follow Bill Dance. CJ2K. Our next inductee is Chris Johnson.
They pitch Johnson. Johnson going left. 15, 10, 5, inside. Touchdown.
Chris Johnson, better known as CJ2K, one of the fastest athletes ever to step on the gridiron.
I just remember one of the runs you ran through somebody, man, and you kept going. And I just was like, yeah, this is a preseason. I was like, it's going to be a long year, but a great year, man.
The first time I ever saw him in action was that play. He took that draw handoff against the Oakland Raiders in preseason and busted it 50 yards, and that was the beginning of CJ2K.
Me and Marcus Robinson was in the film room looking at a D lineman, thinking we were finna like draft him and bring him to the Titans, and I was like, forget the D lineman, who is the guy running?
Chris made an immediate impact in the NFL, following in the footsteps of great Titans running back Eddie George. CJ2K could not be stopped.
Chris Johnson had a phenomenal rookie year. You can ask the Baltimore Ravens defense about that.
And then you go for 2K. Mr. 2K himself, man.
I remember when you ran for 2K, man. That was awesome. Everything you did for the old linemen.
2 years I was a teammate with Chris Johnson was great. He did exactly what you expect young players to do. Come in, shut your mouth, and go to work.
I was on the sideline for every bit of that, and I witnessed greatness.
He topped 1,000 yards in every season that he played with the Titans. He will go down as one of the fastest, most explosive running backs of all time.
Chris Johnson came in and etched his face into that Mount Rushmore of Titans.
This is something that is special, man. It can never be replaced. Just love it, dog. You deserve this, little bro. For sure, man. You are a Hall of Famer, twin. You dig?
We'd like to welcome Chris Johnson, CJ2K, into the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame, class of 2024. Welcome. Congratulations. Who do we have with us?
My daughter, Honey, and my twins, Chris Johnson and Kaden Johnson.
Well, we're welcome. Has there been a day since 2009 that somebody hasn't called you CJ2K?
No, I haven't. That's my new nickname.
Who initially called you CJ2K? Where did it come from?
It came on ESPN. ESPN, they started calling me that, and then ever since then, like, anybody see me out or wherever it is, they just call me that.
So for you, you were always very fast. You come to the NFL, and you're thinking, these players are great, but I'm still faster than them, even though they're the best players in the world. Was there a moment where you realized, I can keep doing what I'm doing back to high school, back to East Carolina, and just keep playing your game your way?
Yeah, basically, like, once I got in the NFL, and then we had the preseason games, and then my first preseason game, I think, it was probably like 50, 60-yard run. It was my first carry that I ever touched the ball in the NFL, and I broke for like 50, 60 yards, and then it was like 2 safeties out, and I split the safeties, and I still scored. So after that point, like, I knew what it was.
6 straight 1,000-yard seasons to begin your career, 2,000 yards rushing in 2009, plus over 500 yards receiving, the greatest year in the history of the NFL from a running back. This man statistically has it. But then you headed out, you went to a few other teams, and in the last few years, you have restarted in a big way your relationship with Titans fans. Amy Adams-Strunk, you are one of her favorite people. Can you describe what this moment tonight means just in continuing that incredible relationship with these fans who, I mean, you can hear it, they obviously love you so much?
Yeah, it means a lot, because just like, you know, my dream was always to play in the NFL. And for Tennessee to make that dream come true, and then for me to be amongst all of the greats, not just NFL, not just football, but when it comes to baseball, when it comes to hockey, basketball, all those type of things, and to be amongst all of the greatest athletes, it's amazing.
Tonight, just one more way. They will never, ever forget CJ2K Chris Johnson. You're in the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame, class of 2024. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you. Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our final inductee of the class of 2024 is Olympic gold medalist Scott Hamilton. One of the most decorated male figure skaters in the world calls Nashville his home. We're happy to have Scott Hamilton as one of our own.
When I was in junior high and high school, the Winter Olympics were magical. It was the 80 hockey team. You got to see a young guy named Scott Hamilton shine for the first time, making the Olympic team.
I've known Scott probably for at least 40 years, and like all of America, we fell in love with his efforts at the 1984 Olympics in Sarajevo, where he won that gold medal, and the more we hear about the amazing challenges that he's had to overcome in his life, it makes his accomplishments even that more impressive.
He became the epitome of figure skating for every person in my age, give or take. And then he became the voice of figure skating, working for the Olympics, every single Olympics that turned around. For me, Scott Hamilton is male figure skating.
He won 4 straight U.S. and World Championships and was a gold medalist at the 1984 Olympics in Sarajevo.
Everybody knows about your achievements in the Olympics, but the most important thing is that you are just an amazing, amazing person. Really respectful, you care for others, you are there every time somebody is asking for your help. You are just a champion in life.
After beating cancer in 1997, Hamilton helped form the Scott Hamilton Cares nonprofit organization that focuses on cancer research, education, and survivorship.
We made one simple phone call to him, and I said, Scott, I don't know what I'm asking, but we want you to be the face of kids learning to skate in our community. We want you to shape it, train it. He said yes. There was no conversation about what does that even mean, how do we form it, how do we put it together, but it just shows how much he loves the game, the sport itself.
I'm a great admirer of your courage, of your kindness, and your grace. You're a good man. Never met a better one.
And what he wanted to do was break down any barriers that anyone had as an entry point into that sport, whether it be financial, geographical, or just excellence in coaching. He's an amazing man.
We're pleased to welcome Scott Hamilton to the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame, class of 2024. Scott Hamilton, your adopted home state loves you very much. Congratulations.
All right. Hey, before we get started, I just want to hear one thing.
Okay.
I just want to hear you say touchdown Titans. Just one time.
Well, I mean, 3 weeks from tonight, I'll be able to do that.
Well,
you really want me to do that now?
Well, yes, I do. I do.
You mean okay.
You mean something to the effect of like with Chris Johnson touchdown? Yeah. All right, so it's 3rd and 7 at the 9-yard line. Titans trail the Ravens 17-13, 45 seconds to go. What will they do here? You've got to throw the ball in the end zone, don't you, right? Bo Scaife goes in motion to the right. He looks, does Young that way. Instead, he'll hand it to Johnson coming left. Johnson at the 5. CJ turns it up at the 2 into the end zone. Touchdown, Titans! Chris Johnson to Peter.
Woo! Thank you for that. See,
would you do that to Vern Lundquist?
Absolutely, in a heartbeat.
I would. How great was it working with Uncle Vern?
Oh man, those are the best days. 3 Olympics with Vern Lundquist. I sat right on his right side, and we just had the best relationship. We covered the Tanya Nancy nightmare in 1994, and it was just remarkable that this man who's covered every sport and his last Masters, just to see that this year, and he just fell in love with figure skating. He just fell in love with it. He loved the music. He loved the fact that these young people would step out on this giant surface of ice by themselves in front of the whole world. And he just thought that was the most incredible thing ever. And I called him on his birthday the other day. We had a great talk, and my goodness, he just was a joy to work with, and it was the greatest blessing I've ever had in broadcasting, for sure.
We remember Sarajevo. I mean, it's hard to believe.
It was a long time ago.
It's hard to believe it's been 40 years. Became the first American since 1960 to win the gold. And as you look back over, I mean, so much has happened in your life over the last 4 years.
You think?
What do you remember about that experience now that you pull out after having had all these other experiences?
You know, I think it was, when you go into wearing very tight spandex clothing in front of possibly 1 billion people, there's something about stepping on the ice without one would've, could've, or should've. There wasn't a situation where I wanted to step on the ice and my last Olympics, it was going to be my last Olympics, and just say, I should have worked harder. Man, I could have gotten to the rink earlier. I just would have, if I only would have eaten better, or I just wanted to eliminate all of that. And I think what you've heard tonight by all these amazing inductees, congratulations to every inductee, amazing stories, is that they just put their whole being into what they were doing, their whole being. And they became kind of iconic for everything. They took whatever their God-given talents were, and they leveraged them into doing something truly remarkable. And congratulations. I'm just so proud to be in this class with you guys, and I'll never forget it. So congratulations.
So the broadcast part of your life has been, and you talk about Vern Lundquist and the different things that you've seen, but you're also a pop icon.
Oh, really?
You've shown up in a lot of different places. What do your children think you're famous for?
I don't know, guys.
What stands out? I've often wondered.
No, I get a lot of Blades of Glory comments.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because that was fun. That was really fun. But, I don't know. I think it's just the fact that I'm the most unlikely person ever to have won an Olympic gold medal.
Why?
But I grew up in Northwestern Ohio. There was no skating rink until they built one the year before I started skating. They didn't have the coaching. They didn't have a pedigree. They didn't have any kind of nothing. They just built a rink, and they wanted to have classes and a hockey team. And so I was pretty sick at the time, so I started skating, and I just sort of liked it because I was, kind of too short to be in the NBA, kind of too small to be in the NFL, There's all those type of things. Yeah. There was always, I wasn't pretty enough to be an actor, So it was kind of all those things that's kind of, wow, this works, right? And so the more I skated, the healthier I got. And my parents, after a 4-year in and out of hospitals thing, they were saying, okay, this works. We're just going to do this. And it was remarkable how I spent so many years failing and losing. I didn't like doing figures, and so they didn't like me back. And I had to learn how to fall in love with the part of the competition I hated. And I'd go to a nationals, and I would fail. And I'd go back the next year, and I'd fail. And then I'd go back the next year, and I'd fail maybe a little less, And it was just one of those things where I never really thought there was a place for me to. I'd look up at these other skaters and think they were really good, but I'd never be like that. And then I lost my mother to cancer. And it was in that I remembered how much she sacrificed for me. Like moms sacrifice. Moms do things for their kids that are just remarkable and unbelievable, and probably way more than the dads would, right? In many ways. But seeing how much she sacrificed for me and how she suffered through her cancer, I just knew this was a fork in the road. And as Yogi Berra would say, I had to take it, right? So I just started showing up better, and I started working harder, and I started not worrying about failure anymore, because it was beyond that now. It was something different. And I just wanted to figure out a way to raise enough money for cancer research where maybe the next 18-year-old boy wouldn't have to bury his mom. And so over the last 40 years, a lot of things have happened. And on the anniversary of my Olympic gold medal, on the anniversary night, we did an event in New York to raise money for cancer. And Brian Orser, the silver medalist, and Joe Sabovchik, the bronze medalist, we could not wait to be together again. And we came together, and on that night, I was given the talking point from my executive director, Carrie Morgan, that a study that we funded for my mom's cancer 3 years ago is going into clinical trial.
Wow.
That was a very good night. But it's not about, I don't know, there's so many things, skating has given me everything. And so it was really a great phone call to get from Sean Henry and the Predators for me to get alongside them in the Ford Ice Centers and try to help them build a brand and build, a skating academy. And I've got one of coaches, Corey Aid over here, who's amazing. And I had a lot of coaches that wanted to come and lead the competitive program, and she was the only choice. And I waited 3.5 years to get her here, and she's here, and we're so excited. But it's like nothing can happen until it's built, right? And this town is so remarkable. This state is so remarkable. When you think of the identities of Western, Central, and Eastern Tennessee, and just everything they have to offer, and just how this is a state that is bordered by 8 states, and we're good neighbors, and we're good people, and we're faithful, and we love the Lord, and we just can't wait to help people. It's the volunteer state. And it's just awesome to be here. It really is. So when I got the news that I was going into the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame, are you kidding me? It was like, why? It was like, why?
I can tell you.
Please.
Yeah.
I got my own thoughts.
Your contributions to expanding ice for kids and giving opportunities, what you do in communities, the way you help promote athletics in the state, not only in the state, but in other parts of the world, because you are so clearly proud to be part of this community and this group of people, this community, so to speak. That's what gets somebody put into the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame, when they do something special in that way, that jumps out in that way. And in your time here, you've done that, because, listen.
Thank you.
Here's the thing that stands out about your life. You have fought health since you were 9. You've seen a bunch of stuff. You've been through some stuff. You've had tremendous success on the ice. You have had great success in broadcasting. You're not afraid to laugh at yourself a little bit. You have fun in movies and different things. The Simpsons, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah, no, I did Fairly Odd Parents. That was
Fairly Odd Parents. But here's the thing. The thing that stands out through what you battled and what you battle and what you have seen in terms of top competition in every way, there is a joy to you that is your superpower.
Thank you.
And that is the part of Scott Hamilton. When we watched you compete, when we listened to, you get people interested in figure skating because you're so passionate about it.
Thank you.
That is a gift, my friend, and thank you for giving that gift to us in this state.
Well, I can tell you, thank you. Thank you. I thank you. And I can tell you this, men, we marry up. We just do. We always marry up. We marry up. Sorry. The only reason I live in Tennessee is because my beautiful wife, Tracy, grew up in Jackson, Tennessee. And when we had our son, Aiden, who's sitting right over there next to my son, Max, I was living in California at the time. And I just didn't feel like I wanted to raise my son in California. And so we came to Tennessee. And it is the greatest place for family. It is the greatest place just to be in community. I've got friends here that really pour into their communities and do remarkable things to remind us of just who we are and what we're capable of doing when we work together. And no state does that better than the state of Tennessee, city of Nashville. It's just amazing. And so, Trace, thanks for dragging me laughing and joyfully to Tennessee. I just love it here. Thank you guys for accepting me and embracing me so beautifully. And let's just change this world together and for the better forever. Are you with me? All right. God bless you all.
Scott Hamilton, thank you, and congratulations. One final reminder as we begin our wrap-up here, if you bid on any of our silent auction items, please check in on your way out to claim your items. You're encouraged to take the floral centerpieces when you leave. Thanks again to our great sponsors. We hope you'll join us on September 26th for our annual golf tournament presented by the Tennessee Lottery. You can sign up at TNSHOF.net. Thank you for attending. Please drive safely. And thank you for your support of the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame. Good night, everybody.